CryptoSLO, cryptocurrency news and investing.
CryptoSLO with more crypto gains. Tonight's topic is RavenCoin, and as you saw the intro of the video, cyber squawking. Now, you say, what do I mean by cyber squawking? Well, if you've been following RavenCoin as it's progressed, they launched the coin, and the sole purpose of the coin is to have asset transfer. So it is to coordinate and facilitate the transfer of assets. So you're like, well, what's that have to do with cyber squawking? Well, the reason I'm bringing this up tonight is there's a lot of excitement about the launch of the asset layer. This is supposed to happen October 30th, and this will allow people to create asset names in their wallet and on the blockchain. So in essence, you're kind of creating your own token or your own asset, and you can assign the number of tokens, and every name has to be unique. So you're like, well, what's the big deal? Why cyber squawking? Well, the reason we came up with cyber squawking is because similar to cyber squatting, where someone buys domain names and sits on them with the hopes that they can sell that name later on at a higher cost. And actually, this still goes on quite a bit. You know, if you think you've got a really great website name and then you go to get it, and then what do you know? Some jackass has it and he wants $1,000 for it. So basically, what's going to happen is we're getting into this phase 2 of assets. So people will create these assets and they'll be unique and they will own that name. This creates quite a few interesting things, because let's say someone creates an asset called Microsoft. It's on the blockchain and it's immutable, so there's really no way that Microsoft, technically right now as of law, take that name away from you. You're creating a virtual asset basically. Now, is it worth anything? That's a great question. Probably not. So at least initially. But one thing's for sure: when the asset layer goes live, it is on a first come first serve basis. So as you get these assets, they'll be used up. So if you register an asset, you now own that asset. Like, let's take a look at the testnet wallet and see what I'm talking about. Alright, we're back. So I've launched the RavenCoin wallet in testnet mode, so you can see what I'm talking about with the assets and the names. So we're going to click on the asset tab and we're going to look. Create assets, manage assets. So this would be an example. Let's say I want to create Microsoft tokens. So I'm going to hit create assets and I'm going to hit Microsoft, check availability. Looks like it's there. And we're going to make 10,000 Microsoft coins. I'm going to leave the address, make it reusable, and I'm going to hit create asset. So it's going to cost me 500 Raven to create my new Microsoft asset token. So I hit yes, and boom, the asset's been added to the network. So I have just now cyber squawked the Microsoft name. Nobody else can get that name asset on the RavenCoin blockchain. So you can see let's see. Actually, I don't have any assets in here right now, but it'll take a minute or two and then this will clear. It's still synchronizing with the network. So now you can see what I'm talking about. When this thing goes live, it's going to be bananas, because I would tend to think that everyone and their brother is going to try to grab as many good asset names as they possibly can, especially the 3-letter ones. That is the minimum letters for an asset name, is 3 letters. So now keep in mind, it costs you 500 Raven tokens to create that asset. Like on the testnet, it's not that big of a deal. I got a whole shitload of tokens. So in dollars US, that's about $8 to $10 for every name you register. And keep in mind, those coins will get burned. Now, this is kind of cool because in a way, this will, I think, will drive up the price of Raven. I expect 1 million or 2 million coins to be burnt within the first 24 hours of this asset layer going live, because people are going to go bananas to whitelist their own custom RavenCoin token asset, whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, it's a token. So in a way, and don't get technical and try to shred my video on this, in a way, think of this as kind of like ETH with ERC20 tokens, but the creation of the token has been streamlined. So basically, you can create tokens and create as many as you want, up to 21 billion, on the Raven blockchain, and they're calling it an asset. Well, you know, that poses a lot of great questions, like how are you going to make it legal and binding? How are you going to make your asset worth anything, or worth anything legally? Or is it going to be third-party contracts outside of the asset name? So all really great things to think about with this coin, but like I said, we have till October 30th before this all happens. And going back to the asset thing, so he starts to talk about the assets, and another cool thing is you can have unique assets, but it costs extra tokens. So let's say you wanted to have those Microsoft tokens, but you wanted token 1, token 2, token 3. It's going to cost you extra tokens to make unique identifiable assets. But once again, once you grab the name, it's yours to keep. So, you know, this is going to be really, really interesting to see how bananas people go over creating assets. As an example, go to the debug window, console. You can actually get a name of all the assets with the list assets command. Give it a minute to grind. And then you can see all the assets. Now, this to me is very interesting, that people are creating these weird, like, alpha numeric assets. I'm not really sure what the purpose is of these. It almost looks like a wallet address, but as you go up, it'll start to become Java ABN, Java. Yeah, so these are all created assets by name. Tesla, interesting. Spam. Yeah, a lot of people have been busy, I can see. So yeah. So the question to you is, are you going to purchase any assets on the Raven blockchain? Once again, it is a little pricey, so I mean, it could add up quick if you go bananas. You know, and this just begs these questions. What's going to happen to a legit company if they're trying to claim their asset name? You know, could you be forced legally to hand that over by eminent law and domain and trademark? Or would they be forced to buy it from you at a fair market value? All interesting questions. I love this coin, and let's keep an eye on it. This is CryptoSLO. If you're not talking gains, then we're not talking.
Cyber Squawking.